Picture this. It's August 20th, 1989, and in one of the most affluent neighborhoods in Beverly Hills, a crime would take place that would shock the nation, leaving behind questions about greed, family dysfunction, and the horrifying lengths two young men would go to in order to sever their ties to the past. This is the story of Lyle and Eric Menendez, two brothers who brutally murdered their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, in cold blood. Their defense, a story of unimaginable abuse and survival that would split public opinion down the middle. Welcome to our deep dive into the Menendez brothers' case. Jose Menendez was a successful Cuban-American businessman, a self-made millionaire, a man who achieved the American dream through relentless ambition, eventually becoming a Hollywood executive. His wife, Kitty, was a former schoolteacher, by all accounts a devoted mother, though she too was deeply troubled. To the outside world, the Menendez family appeared to have it all: wealth, prestige, and status in one of the richest zip codes in America. But behind the mansion's opulent walls, the story was far more complex. Their sons, Lyle and Eric, lived in a gilded cage. While Jose and Kitty provided them with every material comfort, the boys lived under the pressure of their father's suffocating expectations. And according to the brothers, it was far worse than that. On that fateful August evening, Lyle and Eric Menendez would commit one of the most brutal acts of patricide and matricide in American criminal history. Armed with shotguns, the brothers entered the family room where Jose and Kitty were lounging, watching television. Jose was shot in the back of the head, while Kitty, startled and confused, tried to flee, only to be chased down and shot multiple times. The crime scene was horrific, with the sheer force of the weapons disfiguring both victims beyond recognition. At first, Lyle and Eric staged the scene to make it look like a mob hit. They called 911 in apparent distress, Lyle famously crying out, "Someone killed my parents."
Beverly Hills emergency.
Yes, police.
What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem?
Someone killed my parents.
Pardon me?
Someone killed my parents.
What? Who? Are they still there?
Yes.
The people...
No.
Were they shot?
Hey, man, kill.
Were they shot?
Yes.
They were shot?
Yes.
102 response. 722 North Elmore.
What happened? Hey, stand up,
I have a hysterical person on. We're trying to get things further. Other units responding. Is the person still there?
What happened? We have units around. What happened? Who shot who?
I don't hear anything. I just came home.
You came home and found who shot?
I'm mom and dad.
You know if they're still in the house, the people that did the shooting.
Get away from them.
Okay, hang on. Let me talk to Eric. Who is the person that was shot?
My mom and my dad.
Your mom and dad?
My mom and my dad.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, we're on our way over there with the ambulance.
Okay, I gotta go.
Okay.
But within months, their facade would crumble. The investigation into the Menendez murders was initially slow-moving, but detectives soon noticed cracks in the brothers' stories. The extravagant spending spree that followed their parents' deaths was particularly suspicious. Rolex watches, luxury cars, and even a business venture. Within 6 months, Lyle and Eric had spent nearly $700,000 of their parents' fortune. But the most damning evidence came from their therapist. Eric, racked with guilt, confessed the murders to Dr. Jerome Oziel, a psychologist. Oziel would later record sessions where both brothers discussed their roles in the murders in chilling detail. The trial of the Menendez brothers became a media sensation. Broadcast live on court TV, the nation watched in shock as the brothers claimed their father had sexually abused them for years. Eric and Lyle described their home life as a house of horrors, detailing violent physical, emotional, and sexual abuse at the hands of Jose Menendez. Their defense argued that the murders were not an act of greed, but a desperate attempt to escape their father's control. Prosecutors, however, painted a very different picture. They argued that the abuse claims were fabricated, a tactic to justify the murders. To the prosecution, this was a clear-cut case of greed. The brothers, they contended, were motivated by the prospect of inheriting their parents' vast fortune. After 2 grueling trials, with the first ending in a mistrial due to a deadlocked jury, the brothers were convicted in 1996. Both Lyle and Eric received life sentences without the possibility of parole for the murders of their parents. But the story didn't end there. The Menendez case remains one of the most debated in the true crime world. Many argue that the brothers were victims of unimaginable abuse, pushed to a breaking point. Others see them as cold-blooded killers, motivated by greed and a desire to control their own lives, no matter the cost. The Menendez case has continued to capture public interest, especially in recent years with a resurgence in true crime documentaries and shows. The brothers, now middle-aged men, remain in prison but have found support in various advocacy groups, some of which continue to push for leniency, citing the alleged abuse as a mitigating factor. The Menendez brothers' story is not just a tale of murder, but a tragic saga of family dysfunction, trauma, and the long-lasting scars of abuse. It raises the question, can the line between victim and perpetrator ever truly be defined? And in the end, who really pays the price for justice? Thank you for joining us today as we explored the harrowing case of the Menendez brothers. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the darkest corners of true crime. And let us know in the comments, were Lyle and Eric Menendez driven by fear or greed? We'd love to hear your thoughts.